fellow aviation lovers and enthusiasts. My name's Infinite.Flight, and I'm bringing you back to the Frontier Virtual Cast, where we're about to launch into episode 5. This is probably going to be my favorite episode, simply because our guest star today is going to be the most entertaining person to listen to, and I'm not even kidding. Flight dispatching is something, it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I actually have looked into that, so I'm excited for this. If it interests you, you can find us on our several social media outlets, including Frontier Virtual Airlines, if.weebly.com, and our Instagram page at Frontier VA. You can join us by going to our website and filling out our application link. Reply should be sent to you within 24 hours' time. Link to the website will be in the description of this episode. Joining me today in the Frontier studio, as always, is my co-host and co-CEO, Matt. Matt, it wasn't too long ago that we were back here in the studio filming the Global episode. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I mean, I have my cup of water right here, and I'm ready for the podcast.
Yeah, as long as you don't sip that thing. All right. So for those of you who have not checked out our past episodes, I highly encourage you to do so. This a great deal of Frontier Global was released in the past episode. That's something I highly encourage you guys to check out. Just to kind of get us underway here, joining us from afar is Flight Dispatcher Tyler. And if you've been keeping an eye on the forums, you've seen I've had a question thread out for a while. The reason Tyler hasn't been on, he wasn't on our last episode, was because work just got, conflictions and all that stuff. So we bumped him up to episode 5. But Tyler, it is an absolute huge honor having you on board with us today. Welcome to the Frontier Cast.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here finally.
It's a huge honor. So before I start off we're going to ask you to tell us how you became a flight dispatcher, how you started that road that many of us have all crossed into becoming an aviation lover. Go ahead and tell me how it feels to know that you're a successful flight dispatcher, and I'm really interested in listening to this because I have actually been wanting to be a flight dispatcher for a while, but probably going to be a flight attendant still. Go ahead and describe for us how it feels to be a flight dispatcher, and what do you do kind of on an average daily basis?
Yeah, so I come in, I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., so I'm on the overnight shift. The first about 20 minutes of my shift, overview of how the AM operations went, be it any weather delays we may have, any mechanical issues with the aircraft may be having, and any possible pop-up flights that may be occurring in different regions of the country. And of course, during my shift. And then throughout my shift, I answer, they give us roughly 4 hours heads up. Once they give us a departure time, once they give us our time, that's when we can set up the arrival for the flight crew. Normally it's about 2 hours prior to their set departure time. It gives them an hour to go to the airport, the aircraft with our flight plan, routing, and all that good stuff.
Wow, sounds like you've got a busy day on an average basis, man.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. All right. So for those of us who don't know yet, how exactly would you say, or how would you describe what a flight dispatcher does? Like what is a flight dispatcher? Is it like an ATC controller? Is it, just go ahead and describe for us, for those of us who don't know.
Right. So our job is basically all the behind the scenes that could possibly go on during a private flight. So from point A to point B, we set up the flight crew with the matching aircraft for your route. First, we look into how many people are on. We can see, max about 8 people. And then we look at the route itself, or is the endurance, of your trip. And then we kind of pair that with the aircraft for you. Once we do that, we talk about your time of departure from the airport. If it's breakfast time, we encourage order catering for you, their plane side, and then once we get you to the destination, we can set up your rental car, hotel, things like that along the way. And really, that's it.
So you're basically the type of person who gets to be the good guy and help everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So now a question I was curious about, because basically the way I work with aviation, I don't get that side of it that you get.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever get like customer complaints? Are you like the typical airline that, you'll have a lot of crabby people, or do you work completely away from people?
Well, we do have owner flights, meaning that they have certain stakes or the whole aircraft that they own outright. And they do get priority. You schedule the flights on our King Air 90 for tomorrow. Well, the owner just called me 5 minutes ago and said, hey, I want to use my King Air 90 tomorrow. Sorry, guys, you bumped off this flight. However, I have your jet, that we can sub out for you. So really, the average person off the street, they could book one of our flights, but we're talking probably on average about $30,000, to give you a rough guesstimate.
So, in other words, I am probably not going to be using you guys. I don't think I have that kind of money on staff. All right.
Right. Just think about it this way, because you rent that one seat. Flying private, you rent the whole plane.
The whole plane, yeah.
So
I can see how that is. Yeah, I can definitely see now, because I was kind of curious, why the prices were so high, and it's like shoot me in the head. Obviously this is why. So thank you for explaining that. I learned something too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt. Before we kind of delve into questions, since the window's sort of closing here, do you have anything, like any personal questions you'd like to ask?
All right. So this is kind of more on the company side itself of things. So why would a person choose your company, like your aircraft over, say, an Emirates like hotel suite type thing? On like the A380, the type that they have.
Right. Well,
they rent a whole room type of thing.
The great thing about private flying, what we do is we tailor to your specific timeline. So if you have a meeting to go to here in Houston, we cater to your time. Not okay. Well, Emirates won't leave till. Sorry, whereas your meeting is over at 12. So we leave when you say go.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Right. And plus, we can get into closer airports to your destination. Emirates or Southwest couldn't, because of the length of their aircraft.
Okay, thanks for that. Now back to Infinite Flight.
All right. That was an interesting question also, because I was curious, if you're basically taking the whole airplane for, like you said, about $30,000. Why in the world would you choose that over basically most expensive $4,000 ticket? So
right.
that does. Okay, so that makes sense. Wow, you guys have an interesting life. So do you mostly get like rich business people? You don't get like actual passengers like a commercial airline would? You get the rich people who have to be to A and B at a very specific time?
Exactly. That, or the leisure passenger who has just charting a plane. There was one time where I had been on shift for maybe 2 hours. Guy just calls us, goes, hey, let's get from Houston Hobby to Miami, Florida. You want to go in the next few days? How soon do you want to go? He goes, no, I want to leave tonight, like right now. Come on down.
You got business.
So we
short notice. I see.
Exactly. So we quoted him the price, said, hey, give us about 2 hours and we'll have the flight crew going. Once we swipe your card and it does have the funds on your card, then we'll be more than happy to set you all up.
Interesting. All right. So in interest of the time that we're going to have here, I'm going to divert over to some community questions before we're going to wrap it up. And I'm going to ask a couple more questions to you personally. But, man, this is interesting. I could just listen to you all day. Anyway, just some community questions. First off, we'll start with Rodney Buckland, who just wants to know cheddar or blue cheese on burgers. What's your preference?
I'll go with cheddar or American.
There you go. Personally, for me, if it's cheese, I'm fine. I don't really care what. But
Yeah, it is the community, so don't expect actually good questions.
Right. Fair enough.
Well, okay. Don't expect good questions from Rodney. Sorry, Rodney. But all right.
Womp womp womp.
All right. So Mix 56 Awesome, who's a Frontier pilot here at Frontier Virtual Airlines, is going to ask, what is your favorite airport? And maybe not like an airport you work at, but maybe just any airport that you've ever been to. What has been your favorite airport in travel?
Ooh, probably San Francisco. Just because of the approach, landing, it's water. Crash this thing into the bay. What's going on here? And then
Suddenly
finally
land.
you come in and you land.
Yeah, I've never been into San Francisco, so I think that would be a cool approach as well.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Continuing on, this is also from Mix. What is your favorite airplane? Any on the whole scale? What is your favorite?
And probably on the commercial side, probably the 757. So unique.
This guy's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's called the flying pencil, for crying out loud.
Oh yes. Wait, the 300 or 200?
I'd go with the 3 with the Rolls Royce.
Okay, yeah, this guy is that's my favorite too. That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, and then
I'm going to one in March. In April.
Yeah, they're nice, aren't they?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Private side, probably the Hawker 800 or the Falcon.
Nice. I don't think I've ever flown the private side, but I have actually seen the 757 300, so I can see the allure to that. All right, David Lockwood asks, what qualifications and experiences are needed to be a dispatcher, and how long, on average, does it take to gain that?
Do and in Part 135 side, you don't have to have a license per se, like the 121, meaning the airlines do. Really, just work ethic and honestly a passion for aviation, because you work a lot of hours, and we're 365, 24/7 operation.
Okay, so there you go, David. Moving on to, I think this is how you pronounce it, Cy Lyric. He's asking, are these smaller planes, in terms of like the way you have a lot of medical doctors going around, are these smaller planes allowed an expedited takeoff or landing similar to an emergency vehicle given the circumstances of the flight?
Yeah, a medical flight, the flight crew actually files their flight plan themselves, and they file under what's called Medevac. And Medevac gets them priority off and arriving into the airport. I listen to my guys come into Hobby, for example, on liveatc.net. Expedited approach clearances from Southwest, Delta, JetBlue, all of them, because they filed as a Medevac or a lifeguard call sign.
So wow, so they actually get like priority just because they filed it themselves.
So yes. So just because they went under the Medevac call sign, think about it like an ambulance on the road.
Right, and I think that's what Cy Lyric was saying when he's saying, like similar to an emergency vehicle. So that makes sense.
Exactly right.
All right, Matt, did you have a question before I moved on?
Yeah, I do have one. So, do you ever get free flights or discount flights using your charter planes?
No,
that's my question too.
Although there was one time where one of our Lear 60s came out of maintenance, and each time they go out of maintenance, you have to do what's called a test flight. So basically, you fly around the pattern and then come back. 5 minutes, and I said to the captain, "Hey, do you mind if I ride along? Come on down, 60 for free."
Wow. Get to bypass that 30,000 fee. That's nice.
Exactly.
All right, so here's an interesting question, Mike. I see what you're doing here, Mike. But anyway, do you, Tyler, enjoy seeing the Southwest aircraft at Houston Hobby?
I do. Although it can get kind of tiresome seeing the same over and over again.
Exactly. And I'm sure Mike is clapping his hands right now. He's an avid Southwest fan, and I'm an avid disliker of Southwest. So if we go head to head,
I like Southwest, but don't tell Robert. He'll get mad at me, even though he's in this chat. Right. I do what he says, so he won't fire me, even though he can't.
Yeah, he and I'll have words tonight. Anyway, let's move on. Tyler, what is a normal day like? And I think you might have answered that a little bit, but what is the interaction with pilots as well as other ground staff and fellow dispatchers like?
Right. So at my company, we have the charter side, which is American Jet, and then on the fixed base operational side, that's our sister company called Millionaire. And what they do, they handle all the ground operations. So as far as pulling out your plane from the hangar, they service your aircraft with oil or gas. Really, the FBO is your backbone. So you get to work with them to coordinate, okay, what time should I pull out the aircraft from the hangar, fueled, and it really all depends on that call comes from the client, and you kind of center around those answers around the departure time from that airport. We also do sales calls. People will call in or email quotes, from Houston to say Las Vegas. How much would that run me? And so we quote out pictures of the aircraft and the total of the whole price for the 2 or 3 day stay, and we shoot that back to them as well.
Do you ever have people who like, they're calling and they're like, expecting it's private, it's okay, it's like $1,000 there, and then you tell them, well, it's this amount, and they're like, yeah, I think Southwest over there just has some good fares. Or,
yeah,
do you ever
happens. Yeah, that happens probably twice a month, where somebody calls, that doesn't know anything about private aviation. They've flown Southwest or Frontier all their life. They're thinking, it's cool. Sorry, man, it's going to be about $25,000.
All right, so I have one question. Okay, so have you ever had someone who is kind of, famous call or wanting a flight, like someone like not like say very famous, but someone who, if you Google their name, they'd have their own Wikipedia page?
Yes. Due to confidentiality that I signed, I cannot disclose those names.
Okay.
But several big name side MLB and celebrities, I haven't met these people, but I've seen them on manifests that we do fly in and out of.
So you get the hot shots.
Exactly.
Make them pay more.
Right.
They can afford it too.
Exactly.
And guys on the forums, please don't ask for the names of these. This is confidential information, as Tyler has said, so just please respect that. So moving on to the next question, and I'm sorry, the very first one I had, that was from David Lockwood. He has three of them for you. Last question I'm going to ask you before we have to pull out here. Well, yeah, okay. You work for a charter airline, which is presumable each flight for you, which you plan, is different. How does this relate to being a dispatcher with a scheduled airline?
Well, we do have scheduled flights that say the owner, would call today, and he wants to set up a flight 3 weeks from now. So we technically it isn't scheduled per se like the airlines, fly this specific route every single day, but we do have scheduled. We would call it in, and we reserve that aircraft for them.
All right, and okay, so do you have a database of standard routes which you can use as a base when planning flights, or is each one basically you don't have any airports you won't go to as long as they can pay for it?
Well, the thing with that is each but basically default is 4,000 feet, and if it's anything lower than that, we have to get approval from our director of operations hey, can this King Air fly under, less than 4,000 feet? And then you have to look into the weather that day and the humidity and how many, and how much weight the aircraft will have for landing and taking off, and making sure those calculations are safe, within the envelope of the aircraft itself, as well as the runway.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, before we close out here, okay, so Matt, this is what we have to do. We need to get Tyler on for a part 2 because I have so many questions still.
Yeah. do we have time for one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Tyler, do you ever have to deny customers flights for some reason or another, even if they have the money, and for what reasons will those be?
Mainly, it's due to the runway itself. Kind of going back to my last question. Shorter than 4,000 feet, it's up for discussion. 9 times out of 10, though, if it's less than 4,000 feet, or there's times to where, hey, I have this private ranch, permits and paperwork, and that could take months to obtain the paperwork. So there's a bunch of factors that could go into saying no, but obviously, with any job, we try to say yes.
All right.
Sounds good. So I know you just asked a question, Matt, but just to make sure we're all on the same page here, do you have any other questions to wrap it up? We do have to go, so just if you have any.
No, I'll keep us on schedule, and I'll end it there, hoping for a part 2.
Tyler, we're going to have to get you on a part 2 if you don't mind.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds good.
Because, wow, I could listen to you all day, and I'm not even kidding. This is the type of stuff that I could just spend, if only school was like this, you spend 8 hours a day just listening to people like you talk, man. All right. Well, guys, that was Tyler, a flight dispatcher for a small charter airline. You can check him if you want. You can private message Matt or I, and we can get you in touch with Tyler if you have any more specific questions for him. He probably will be on a part 2, so keep that in mind. We won't be asking any specific questions that we may have in the future. But yeah, that's basically it. So thank you so much, Tyler. It's been a huge honor having you on board with us, and I look forward to seeing you in a part 2.
No problem, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you're new to the channel or you're a returning listener but haven't done so yet, we would appreciate any support you can give us, including hitting that like button on this episode and subscribing. Every bit of support you guys give us means the world. This has been the Frontier Virtual Podcast with your hosts, Infinite.Flight and Matt. For your enjoyment and comfort, please remain seated with your earphones in until this episode has come to a full and complete stop. If you require any assistance on anything discussed here, please remain in your seat until other passengers have deplaned the comment sections. One of our crew members will then be pleased to assist you. On behalf of this airline and all staff on board with us today, I humbly thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next episode. This is the FVA cast, wishing you all clear skies and smooth landings. You know about it.
There's going to be stuff to pay, huh?
Yeah. My blooper last time was, oh boy, that was bad.
That was a funny
Speaking of that, guys, it's vocal warm-up time.
No, we're not doing that, man. I'm sorry.
A vocal warm-up? Do we sing, or what do we do?
Hold on, I'll link you to it. Okay, you need to see this.
It's in the most recent episode, Tyler. So you'll have to make sure to listen to that episode 4.
Hey,
the blooper reel at the end. Yes. I'm okay. Fine. Since you didn't know, Tyler, I'll just tell you the Black Angus is like a steak and seafood type thing. Basically specializing in steaks. So
okay,
it was basically steaks versus steaks.
Nice.
Yeah.
The stakes have been raised.
Matt, hey Daniel, you need that blooper reel going.